Good evening, members, and welcome to our last webinar seminar for the marketing. This is the last one that we're going to have. Next month, July, starts a whole new season, and what we're going to be doing for that, as we had explained before, is we've done the audios and we've done the webinars. Now we're going to do videos, and the videos are going to be on treatment planning and case presentation. So Dr. Sheldon's going to go over planning cases, and I'm going to go over how to present those and sell those to the patients. We're still going to be doing 2 per month. Is that correct?
Yep.
We're still doing 2 per month. We are going to keep the videos smaller so that you can share those with your staff. I know a 30-minute video is a lot easier to show and demonstrate to staff than in an hour, so we're going to keep those a little bit smaller so they're easier to use. So we will be starting those next month, and Dr. Sheldon said probably next week or so we'll be sending out the schedule for those so you guys can plan for those. And as we said, starting in July, we're going to be doing videos. So our guest this evening, he is our multimedia guy, and he's the one that put together all of our videos, and we use him for, of course, all our videos. And so he's going to be speaking with us tonight. Carrie, telling us a little bit about...
We're going to talk about Facebook tonight. I can tell you, Carrie has a great deal of talent. Carrie and I have been working together for, probably 3 years or longer. We're both members of an organization called Helping Seniors of Brevard County. And when you've seen some of the articles that I've written or some of the TV shows that I've done, guess who's been producing them on the other end? It's none other than Carrie Fink, and Carrie and I are going to talk about something. Actually, Carrie's going to talk about something that is near and dear to most of our hearts, but frankly, I don't know very much about it. You know more about it than I do.
I know what you're talking about.
And that's Facebook and how we can use Facebook for business. So, Carrie, thanks for being a guest on the program. Welcome.
Thank you. It's good. It's good to be here, and it is a fun topic. You know, the amount of demographics that are people who are using Facebook is phenomenal. I don't know if everybody has had an access to be able to pull down the handout, but one of the things that's pretty amazing when you think about it is that there's actually 1.5 billion people in this entire planet who use Facebook. So that is an astounding number. I mean, that's bigger than a lot of countries. I mean, you know, if you think about it, if our population in the United States is, 360 million or something like that, and in the world there's almost 6 billion Facebook users. Think about that for a minute. So if you're not familiar with Facebook, you really are at least missing out on an opportunity. And so in that handout, the first thing that I wanted to share was just for everybody, because everybody likes to throw out these terms about, like, you need to be doing social media, and suddenly there's this pressure, this urge, like, wow, I've got to have a Twitter account, I've got to have a LinkedIn, I've got to have a Periscope account, I've got to, and people will just, there's always a flavor of the week, as we like to talk about it in the media business. But the point that I really want to drive home, and why we're talking about Facebook tonight, is the fact that Facebook that's the mothership of all this stuff. If you just look at that chart, there's a couple of charts, and it just shows you, it's a simple bar chart. And if you haven't had a chance, it's not even the numbers, but just understand that this one at the top, that's what we're talking about for Facebook. And Twitter is like someplace down here. LinkedIn is someplace way down here. So it's a question of time value of your time and your money. And if you're going to learn something, might as well learn Facebook first, and then you can decide if these other things really make sense. So what we're going to talk about, I think, this evening is to try to give a kind of a quick overview. And I'm going to ask you to forgive me because I'm going to start sort of at Facebook 101. So if you're a regular user and you've got all this stuff down, bear with me. I hope I'll have something that's going to be of value and help to you as we go along too. But I want to start at the very beginning because it does amaze me. I'll be in a situation and presenting on the topic of social media and Facebook, and somebody will ask the question. They'll say, "Well, I'm an attorney, so my name is the name of my practice," and they say, "I want to get started with Facebook." So the point would be, then they have a Facebook page, which is them and their friends, and they're putting up cute pictures of their puppy, their cat, their dog, whatever is important to them personally, and they're sharing that. But it's not necessarily the stuff that you would necessarily want to share on your professional level. So there is a distinction that we want to talk about, and it's the first point I want to make tonight, is the difference between your personal page and your business page. And I believe that you're looking at my screen, so I'm going to send you over. This is I'm going to take you actually to my personal page first. Okay, so that there's me and my wife and our lovely family, and this is where we can put up all the things like we like to do. There's our daughter, different things that are important to us. We live on the Space Coast, so we're meeting astronauts, and these are all the things that are important to me as a person, that we like to do stuff like that. Okay, but there's a difference between that and a company page. So that's like a company page. And here's the point, which if you're not familiar with, a personal page, typically, unless you've messed with the security settings of how Facebook defaults, when you're on your personal page, only your friends are going to be able to see this material. And the way this works is, as you know, normally your view on Facebook would be something like this. All the people that you are friends with will come up, and there'll be different posts, and you can like or react to them or whatever. That's when you have, when you're having something from your own personal page. If I post something here, in this case I refeeded something that my wife had posted, then it's going to be out here on the general timeline, but only people who are friends with me are going to be able to see that. That's important to understand. That's one of the reasons why there is a difference between a personal Facebook page and a professional Facebook page. Now, the difference is when we get into a professional Facebook page, anybody, you don't have to permission somebody to look at it. They can just Google it and find it. Like I can go right here and I can type in TYG Media LLC and tell it to search for that, and it's gonna return whatever it can find for me to hunt down about TYG. Now, probably it would help if I spelled it correctly. That's always fun. Always fun, but then it'll return things that it can find that might be helpful, or public posts that they can find that are related to it. So that's the point. That's the first point I want to make, is to have you understand, if you have a practice, you want to make sure that you have a business Facebook page which is distinct from your personal page. And it doesn't mean, by the way, if there was a cute shot of a puppy dog and you want to share it on your business page, do it. That makes the page seem more personal, more friendly, and so on and so forth.
Carrie, let me ask you a question in that regard.
Please, go ahead.
Is there some way with Facebook that we designate it as a page? In other words, does Facebook recognize it differently, or we're just setting it up differently?
That's a very good question, and I'm going to show you. If I come back over here, I'm going back to my personal page. So the reason I know I'm on my personal page is because I see my name. It helps me. But if I scroll down, if I scroll back to my timeline, which is where I click the button home here, you see if I come over here to the left, see where it says pages? Now, as a professional media guy, we're dealing with literally hundreds of pages, okay? So we help a lot of different organizations with pages. But if I click more, you'll see like these are just a bunch of the different pages that we help people manage. But my point is, if we just go back to the general timeline, you see where this says create page here? Okay, so let's pick on you for a moment, Dr. Sheldon. If you wanted to make a page for AAIP, for example, I don't know if there is one, but just as for example, you would click create a page, and then you would choose. It would take you to this page, and you would choose where you fit. Believe me, it's very, very simple. You just have to pay attention. Are you a company? Are you a local business? Are you a brand, or a product? You pick. And then it will lead you through the process of creating a company page or an organization page. Does that make sense how I explain that?
That's perfect.
Good. All right. So let's move on to setting up a company page. So Helping Seniors is the organization that Dr. Sheldon was just mentioning that we work together on, me sort of behind the cameras, and he's on the cameras explaining to, we have such an older population in our area. It's like half of the people are AARP definition of 50 plus. So he's always providing educational information to people who need to understand the options about what they can do to improve their mouth health. So this organization, though, is the organization that works on it. It's called Helping Seniors of Brevard, and I want to show you just two different things. So we have a website for Helping Seniors of Brevard. This is what it looks like. It's helpingseniorsofbrevard.org, and you can scroll through it, and there's all kinds of information, media is archived here. But one of the things that you'll notice is if we go to the organization page for helping seniors, we purposely made the picture here, which is called your cover photo, match the cover photo here. Because we wanted to be clear, if somebody goes to Joe's page, Joe's website, and then they clicked on one of those little things that you can go to that gets you over to the Facebook page, we want to make it clear. This is consistent. This matches this. They know they're in a safe place. It's not a spam site. It's the real deal. So, but what I wanted to explain to you is one of the things you have to really think about two issues when you're setting up a company page. Number one is what they call this profile picture. And you'll see many of them that are done poorly because you can't read it, you can't tell what it is. In this case, there's a certain design sign, and I put it on the handout. It's 180 by 180 pixels. But anybody that's helping you with print or your website will understand that probably. But the point is, make your logo fit the box so you get as much easy to read out of it as you can. And this is something we have a lot of fun with in this business because they keep changing the rules on us. Originally, logos needed to be rectangular or something. People liked that because it was easier to read. Facebook forced us into square logos. Now Google has forced us into round logos, so everybody's going back and figuring out how to make their logos fit that. And it's everybody's guess as to what the next hot thing is going to be. We're thinking it's going to be rounded. It's going to be rounded ellipses, so it's going to be like a rectangle but with rounded corner. And where does that come from? We're watching what's happening on the latest mobile phones and things like that. And it's kind of monkey see, monkey do, and everybody chases that. But one of the points that I want to bring home is I want you to understand that we're looking at this Facebook page on a laptop computer. And one of the reasons that I put this into the handout, because I wanted you to be able to see what this also looked like if I show you on a mobile. There's a big deal now that's called responsive. And even when if your website isn't a recent design and it doesn't respond, what responsive simply means is it knows how to change its shape and form based on what type of device somebody's using. In fact, one of the things that's changed really rapidly over the past couple of years is now everybody's used to going like this on their phone, whereas in the old days you use a mouse and you click on a particular thing. So this is now the thing, and responsive means it has to look good this way, vertically, but also, give the phone a minute, it also needs to look good this way. So what the problem is, what most people do with their cover photo, which is that big, it's this lady helping this fellow here, what most people do with that, they don't think about it, so they don't figure that when it gets turned like this, it's going to cut off most of the picture. And so you want to think, when you're designing things that are going on your Facebook page, you want to make sure that the basic action is happening right in the center, because basically, no matter how I turn the phone, I'm still going to be able to get my core point across. And so that's a thing. It's just worth thinking about. And again, they change the rules on us like every so often. But that was a point I wanted to bring home. Does that make sense? Is that good? So I'm going to move forward, and I want to talk a little bit about the tab. So we're on the company page now, right? Everybody's clear. We're on a company page. And we're using Helping Seniors. We're picking at them as our example. They are trying to make these pages more and more user-friendly for businesses because this is how Facebook, with all its almost 5 billion users, makes money. It's a huge cash cow, and they sell advertising. So they're trying to get you to use your business here. So lately you've been getting, if you have pages, you've been seeing some notices. They want to get you into different kinds of categories so it makes it easier to search. So for Helping Seniors, we're about education, medical, and health. They put in some buttons called call to action buttons. We're going to come back and talk about that. But I want to talk to you about the most important thing right now, which is tab 3, the About tab. So I'm going to click it, and I'm going to show you. This, for us, is a page that if you have a practice, you'll want to have a map in. But this is the tab Page Info. And you'll want to create, see how you can edit, if you're the administrator of the page, you can edit these sections. The reason you want to take the time to do this, you put in your company overview, they have a long description, they have general information, they have mission, you put all these things in. Why do you want to do that? It has to do with SEO, search optimization. So if I come over here to a Google tab and I just want to type in Helping Seniors of Brevard, if we're doing our job right, we're going to show up in a lot of different places up here. Helping Seniors, and we should be, there's Facebook popping up, there's us on LinkedIn popping up, there's look for Helping Seniors Brevard column. We want to dominate. We're not going to get everything, because here's something about one senior place saying Helping Seniors Brevard, but we got videos. So the point is, when you take the time to fill out all this stuff here and this about as much as you can, that's going to help you in your SEO, because what the internet does, it sends out what are called spiders, which are just the name they gave them, but it's little, they just creep around the internet and they look for text that they can go back, and then these supercomputers are trying to come up with an algorithm to figure out what to present in a Google search that makes sense. So you want to look good and put your information into that. The next thing I want to talk about is what I call the call to action button. That's this button right here. And this you can choose. In our case, it's a contact us button. But there's a place over here, if you're the administrator of a site, where it says settings. You see where I'm at? If you're the administrator of a page, you can come back here and you can access all these behind the scenes things, including, this is where you would set up how you work your call to action. And you can have it be, your call to action can be anything from a call us to a contact us, send us an email. It can be whatever you like. So there's ways to test the button. I can promote the button. I can edit the button. So like in our case, what I told it to do was just to send it to the website, because if somebody happened to stumble in here and we get them over here, the first thing you're going to see is the phone number. They're going to see the fundraiser that the organization is in the middle of. They're going to direct them to the newsletter, let them look at some of the TV programs, and all kinds of, we'll thank our sponsors, whatever all the things are that are part of it. So that's the call to action button. We're hitting a lot of these things real fast in the essence of time, but this is pretty much, it's worth spending the time to sit here and just take some time. It's free advertising. It's like, this is the cheapest marketing you're ever going to be able to do. Okay, so there's a thing now that they just added called messaging protocol, and they're really pushing this now. This is tied into Facebook Messenger, which, if you remember, is like how you chat with people. You can now have ongoing chats with your friends on Facebook and so on and so forth. But here now they want you to be able to use corporate messages, and so you can set up a series of messages that say, well, these are actually the messages, but you can actually set up in your settings how you want to respond to your messages. So for example, you can have an autoresponder that says, thanks for emailing us. We'll get right back to you on that question. There's lots of ways. They're wanting to get you really interactive with your customers. Okay? There's one other thing I'm going to hit real quickly, and we're going to try to keep this moving because we have a lot of ground to cover with all this. There's a thing in your settings. This is important. It's called page roles. And you'll see where I'm here. This is, again, the same thing. If you're on your page, you're going to come over here, and you're an administrator. You're going to see this thing that says settings. That's where you get to all this backstage stuff where you can tell it what you want to do about messages, calls to action, things like that. But the one I want to show you is what's called page roles. This is important because this is who can deal with your account. These are the people who are allowed permission on this account to make changes. So you need to make sure that these are good people that you do trust and who will always represent your best interest. Because when you give somebody administrator access, they could literally, if they got mad at you, take your whole page down. So you want to be careful. You can choose different roles. You can give somebody a role of editor, which means that they can put stuff on your site, but they can't actually change things structurally. You can give them roles of moderator. You can give them roles as advertiser, analyst. There's different roles that you can give somebody. But think who you're going to have be the administrator. And like if you think about it as you're in a kitchen and you're making food for the guests out in the restaurant, you want to make sure that you don't have too many chefs in the kitchen and that somebody really has an overview of what needs to be done. So a good corporate kind of thing is, at least in helping seniors, the rule is get it to me. That's my role to be the administrator. I'll be responsible for posting it. You can yell at me if I posted something stupid and I'll go change it. But it's better to keep control so that everything that we can do on our page for helping seniors fits. Joe is in so many different publications. He's doing radio shows. He's giving away the Jaguar to raise money for it. So he's in all these different things. But we want to keep that flow going. Because one of the signs of a healthy site is that you should see something that was posted fairly recent. Well, 3 hours ago, we posted the June newsletter for helping seniors. So somebody can come here, they can click the link, they can get to the whole newsletter on site. They can learn about Win the Jaguar. They can read Dr. Sheldon's article in this edition, and so on and so forth. So those are some of the things you can do. And I don't want to take too much time on that because I actually want to move on to something that people who have some experience with Facebook often don't realize, and that is that Facebook is out to make money. So we're gonna stay picking on this, right? So you notice on this particular page we have 258 likes because this is a local organization, it's growing, but we added 29 new likes so far this week. Okay, so but here's a post that we did May 27th. So this was like Monday. Okay, this only reached 77 people. So people often mistakenly think like, wow, as soon as I post something on my company page, it's like doing an e-blast. And the answer is no, it's not like doing an e-blast. It is that Facebook has a policy of, and this is how they explain it to us. They say, oh, we only want to engage readers with the content that they want to see. So if you go back to your own homepage and they know that you like space or things like that, which would be my case, then they're going to be quick to throw things up on my timeline that has to do with space because it's something I'm into. As an example. So they're going to argue we don't want to show everything that you guys, that to all of your people, unless of course you want to buy an ad. So we're going to talk about ads in a minute. But I want you to understand, like, so this got posted 3 hours, it's only been fed out to 6 people. 6 people in 3 hours. So that's how their algorithm for Facebook. So you would think that, well, there's at least 258 people who might want to see it because they took the time to like our page. And remember, this is public, so there's a lot of people who see the page that don't necessarily take the time to like it. Okay? But this one 3 days ago, 71 people. So you understand that Facebook is parsing this out piece by piece over a period of time. This is Joe's radio show from last Thursday. 76 people reached. This this was last Wednesday where he did an appearance at a luxury senior resort living place on the river. 90 people reached. Okay, hometown news. This was like May 21st, 109. So you have to understand that Facebook is piecing this out step by step over a period of time. You will never get to the 280 people or whatever that this particular site has. You're going to think it's great if you get about a third of them. That seems to be about the maximum, and that's called organic reach. That means it's the reach that goes out just as it is. So, like, even if you've had this own experience, even if you played with Facebook yourself as a person, like, you'll post something out and you'll go, well, how come nobody liked that? Okay, and some of these go absolutely ballistic with people who like. So it has to do with if they feel like all these people who like this, that they had some engagement. So the more people that you have in your pictures, like these are different people. Well, this is all our family people. But what I'm saying is then there's people who are friends with our oldest daughter, people who are friends with our son, people who are friends with our youngest daughter, and people who are friends with our grandbaby. So they're all weighing in and saying, oh, wow, we really like this too. So that's part of the story. Even when you're thinking about how you're going to work this on your company page, be aware of those dynamics. There's a complex algorithm that they say they're trying to figure out how to help you. So we're going to take this another step further. This is a movie site that we syndicate. This movie's out on Netflix now, but when we first launched the page, it was going into movie theaters and things like that. The story's called A Long Way Off. Because this is a pretty robust site. 15,000 plus likes, 23 liked it this week. But I want to show you this. We did an organic post here 4 hours ago, okay? So because there's another movie that the same production team is working on called Unbridled that's coming out this fall. But notice that. We have 15,000 people who like this page. How many people did this reach? Only 204. And if we drill back, I mean, we can go back like a year, because I just really wanted to drill this. This is another movie that we worked on called Union Bound, which is out now. But this one was when we were in the Walmarts and Sam's Clubs and things like that with the DVD. Look at this. This was April 4th. Only 439 people organically reached. Now, I can tell you why. Facebook is thinking this is an ad, because it really does look like an ad. We want you to go out and buy a copy of A Long Way Off on DVD. So they want us to boost the post and pay money for that. Well, it's not really the point of what we're after. But my point that I wanted you to get was 400 and some odd people liked it, people liked it. So how many people, it got 24, 25 likes. So only 400 people out of 15,000 who were connected to this actually saw it. So you understand it's like a coupon. You're dealing with percent of a percent of a percent. So I don't want to belabor the point. I'm going to move us on. This is an organization that there's a thing called the National Day of Prayer, and on May 5th it was this year. And our congressman here locally is the guy who puts this together. And they have a big breakfast at the Hilton Rialto in Melbourne. It sells out basically every year. It's like 350 or 400 people. But I want to walk you through the marketing process of how we sell an event. So if I come back a little bit, actually I think I'd already cued to this. So here's an example. This organization by itself has like 195 likes. Again, it's a local organization. So this is an example of just a boost, okay? So Space Coast Prayer Breakfast, we just published this one as a link to get to the site so you can register, join the congressmen and community leaders. 202 people reached. That's actually pretty good considering this site only has a couple hundred likes anyway. We actually did pretty good on that, but it's not enough, okay? So, and maybe the reason that they thought this would be helpful is, I'm not sure, but I'm going to guess that they were thinking that there's a number of different organizations who are connected, and maybe with the name of the congressman and things like that, it boosts it up. I don't know. So then we decided to let's run an ad. Let's buy an ad, and we're going to promote the very same. Notice it's exactly the same, right? Okay, we didn't change any of the content. Same content. So for $40, this is what we spent. Now we reach 4,496 people. And you see it gives me a breakout. I don't know if you can see on my screen. It said we had 399 organic people. That means we reached 400 people who were either directly connected to our page or friends of theirs saw it on their friends page. So like, for example, if I like Space Coast Prayer Breakfast, then this stuff is going to pop up on my timeline. If I refed it or shared it, then my people who are my friends could also have the option to like it. But you'll notice that we paid for 4,097. And I'm going to show you something. I want to give you a peek behind the scenes at the metrics, because this is kind of important. So we know that I posted it, and you saw when we posted it without boost, we only got 258 people. They were 202 people. And then when we did the boost, we got up here to 4,000 people, 399 organic, 4,097 paid. So when we boosted, we only boosted $40 worth for this event, okay? And so what I was able to do is I was able to take $40 and I said, I want people who are men and women between ages 18 and 65 who have 7 interests in one location. I want them to be within 50 miles of Melbourne, because that would be a good indicator that they might actually be able to make use of this event if they were interested. And then I put in keyword. Well, these are kind of like keywords or interests. What I think might make them interested in seeing this post. So that's what I put in. And they will tell you, you could spend $60, you could reach 12,000 people. We said, well, let's just do 4,000 people, see how it goes. So now, that's a little bit what happens. But I can now tell you what happened with our $40. We had, out of those 4,000 people, and you've got to remember, in advertising and marketing, everything is percentages of percentages of percentages, okay? So we reached 4,097 people. We had 247 people take an action. What does that mean? That means they did something. They reacted. My equivalent would be like if somebody puts a coupon for a box of cereal in a Sunday newspaper, if they still do that, they understand that the response rate is going to be like 1/2 of 1%. In this case, we actually got something that amounts to like a 5% response rate, because if you take 247 and you divide by 4097, we actually got like a 6% response rate, which is pretty good for basically a blind ad. That means 6% of people saw it and actually did something. Well, what did they do? Well, 43 of them clicked on the photo. Some of them clicked on the link. Only about 22, so that's about 1/2 of 1% actually clicked on the link, which was the action we would hope that they would take. If they clicked on the link, it would take them to a place where they could buy the tickets, obviously, in this case. We got 12 page likes. We got 127 post likes. We got some comments. And this many people shared it. So this had a pretty good reaction for $40 being thrown at it. And And the upshot is how we did this. We got a press release from the congressman. We started to do this stuff. Less than 100 tickets remaining. Less than 65 tickets remaining. We put together a little video, threw that out there, and then less than 50 tickets remaining. And then we were able to declare it was a sold-out event, which, so it's partially managing those expectations. So a couple things that I want to highlight, again, just kind of going through our sheet. You want to understand the value. There's a couple of things you can do on your site here, which we do, which I'm going to talk about better than we probably actually do. When you get back up to the top, you have a thing about photos. You can organize your photos in a way. We really haven't done this the way we should. What we should do is we should put these photos in by year, because this event has been going on for several years, and there's been different speakers over the years who come in and speak. But you could create a photo album for each year of this event, or you could do it. You could have fun family pictures. These are our friends. You could have, here's our staff photos. You could have, we had this day that we were all out and we're helping a charity locally, and you could put together photo albums. Why is that important? Because ultimately that will help you in terms of getting, again, SEO, which just means search engine optimization. It's just a fancy term saying we're trying to basically get as much help as we can from those little spiders crawling around so they can put as much good stuff about us out there as they can. There's another thing I do want to talk about, which is called events. And that's another tool that if you guys are ever involved in community events or things like that, that can be a helpful thing. Of course, when we do an event like Space Coast Prayer Breakfast, we'll post an event. What is that? That's related to the page, but it's different from the page, and it carries specific details. You can click in video trailers. There's a lot of different things you can do with it, and then you can also have people share this event out. It's another tool that's available in the Facebook world. And then finally, the last thing I really want to talk about for a minute is how do we get people to like a page? And it's not automatic. It is not automatic. People will not necessarily know you're there, but I'll show you how you can do this. If you go to a page that you're the administrator of, and I use this, I'll use this as an example back on Helping Seniors, and I'll start to scroll down. This is the timeline over here on the right side, and as we go down the left side, it'll have ratings. People have come in and given reports. It'll give me stuff like how many people liked it, how many people were here, like in the short term. I can see the page feed. But this is important right here. See where it says invite friends to like this page? If you have like a page for your practice, this is like a no-brainer. What you want to do is ask everybody on your staff who's proud to work there to click invite friends to like this page. And what you're going to do is you're going to get a list of all your friends, depending on how many hundreds you have or whatever. And if you were going to invite somebody to like the page, you would just come up here and I'll pick on Loretta and I'll click her. And now she's going to, next time she gets to her Facebook page, she's going to see that and go, oh, Carrie wants me to like that page. And so hopefully she'll come back and like it. Typically, I have a lot of friends because we're not as much local as around the world. So you have to figure out who's going to make sense for you to connect with. But that's a simple thing to do. And then you can ask people to like your page. Say, hey, look, we're building our Facebook page. We're going to put pictures of our, if you give us permission to, we'd like to put a picture of you, a family photo of you, and just tell you how much we love on you, or whatever things that you guys would think are clever. Because one of the final points that I want to kind of bring to you and kind of want to wrap up this discussion with is, it is interesting. If you talk to millennials, they're the most cynical generation that we've ever seen or ever run across. We have this joke in our house. We say, well, if it's on the internet, it must be true. And so what happens is this generation who's grown up being able to Google anything somebody says, they're really skeptical. So they know when they're being gamed. They know when you're trying to shove an advertisement down their throat. So one of the best things that you can do with a Facebook page is and I think Dr. Sheldon does an amazing job on this, because when he's doing things like on the Helping Seniors, he's never directly saying, you need to call my dentist office and we can help you. That's always the undercurrent that's there. But what he does is he takes time to explain issues. If I took you over to the Helping Seniors YouTube page, which we can get to from here. There's a Helping Seniors YouTube page, and what you can do is you can click in, and you'll see the kind of topics that Dr. Sheldon speaks about, and they're always good topics that is of value to anybody. And so the point is, once he finishes with that explanation, here's one where Dr. Sheldon spoke recently on periodontal disease, and so he really is positioning himself as an expert. So we put this out onto the Helping Senior site. It's really creating value, and I would suggest, for example, that what Dr. Sheldon's office and Facebook would probably be doing, and hopefully they are, is then sharing this out to their audience and saying, look, this is a show, this is community service we did recently. We just want people to know so that they can make good informed decisions about dental health, and this is how to do it. So that's kind of the presentation. I want to appreciate you being attentive, and hopefully that was helpful. And I want to turn it over for questions or wherever places we can go from there.
Yeah, be good. If Carrie, this is great. And if there are questions you have, just raise your hand in your right side screen. I will see your hand raised, and I will call upon you. Meantime, Carrie, how much of this can we do on our own? I mean, you showed really how we can do it on our own. And when should we decide to hire a professional to do this? I'm looking at it and saying, this is great, but at the same time, I really don't have time to do it. So, I mean, that would be one reason to hire a professional. So I guess it's, when do I hire a professional, and what do I expect out of a professional?
Well, it's a good question. Because of the nature of the organizations that we work with a lot, we're trying to help them typically stretch their dollars and be as effective as they can, because we work with a lot of nonprofits. So we're always trying to think of ways to be as creative as possible. And I just ran across, this was a lady, and her business is that she is a home health registry. So she is sending nurses and help into the home. And she had hired I guess somebody had made a pitch and said, oh, we'll populate your Facebook, we'll put posts of interest and things like that. And so we sat down for just a couple of minutes and we're going through it. I said, it's just my personal opinion is these are all like professional stories. They don't really brand you. So the point is, yes, they may be good information, but nobody's going to associate it with you. So if you're going to, and it goes back to the last point I made, people are smart enough to understand when they're being sold to on Facebook and when somebody's giving them something of value. I'll tell you, by definition, somebody who I think does a very nice job with Facebook in the Helping Seniors world. There's a group called Seniors Helping Seniors, which is an in-home care agency, and they're putting in things about Alzheimer's and things, but they're posting it and then they're commenting on it directly. Say, if this is something that's occurring in your family, you might want to take 2 minutes and read this article. So it's basically that you take the time to make this have value to somebody. Like one of the things you did, Dr. Sheldon, when you wrote the Ultimate Mouth Manual, is you said these are questions you don't have to call the office. I want you to be able to get informed on your own. Well, those kind of tips and things that you have in the manual are the perfect kind of things that you could spread out on a Facebook post over a year or two, and say, if you like this, call our office. We'll give you a free, or whatever, however you want to offer it. But I think most of this you can do in-house. There's not really much point to hiring a professional unless you need a little bit of coaching just to get you rolling, and maybe somebody give you a little feedback. But there's a thing, and because we manage literally hundreds of websites, I get these all the time, and then every once in a while, somebody that we're helping will go, "What is this?" They said they could help me boost my SEO by 72,000%, and then here somebody said, "Well, this is an email, and I get these by the hundreds. I like your site, but did you know you could get more likes by doing this?" And they're just people trolling for business. So, like anything else, you would have to make your own judgment call and say, is this person really here to help me, or are they here to take my money? And with Facebook, it is such a do-it-yourself kind of thing. You may have a teenage kid or a young adult that's connected in some way that says, look, I'll help with this. Give me some gas money. I'll do that. And these guys are brilliant with this stuff. So the only time I would say you really need a professional is maybe if you're just wanting to get some feedback, and then make sure it's somebody you trust. That's my point.
All right, that's good. Now you talked about the millennial part of it, but of course the people that we're gearing ourselves to, and we're talking about the periodontists here. We're gearing ourselves to an older population, 50 and 60 and up. The first thing is, how do we have an audience? And I think I know the answer. It's probably yes. Do we have an audience of Facebook users that are in their 60s and 70s?
Oh, absolutely. Let me tell you the story about this. And I'm giving myself a homework assignment. We subscribe to a service called Statista. That's why you see their logo on the bottom of these of the handout. There was actually a page that broke out the demographics of Facebook users. And the beautiful thing is, particularly if you're going for an older audience, Facebook is exactly where you want to go. Because there's all these other things, you've probably heard them thrown around, Snapchat and Twitch, and there's all these things that millennials are into. There's always a flavor of the week. In fact, most young people like Twitter better than they like Facebook. But what was amazing when I was looking at that chart, and I will find it and I will get it to you so you can distribute it to the membership, is that the beautiful thing is, and it's probably why kids are going away from Facebook, is because they don't want their grandparents to see all the junk. The reality is all grandmamas are on Facebook. All grandmas are on Facebook because that's how you share pictures of the kids. I can just walk you through my own personal page, but I know I'm telling you something you already know. This is the medium. We have 1.5 billion people on the planet who have a Facebook account. They are there. So even people who surprise you, they want to learn Facebook because they say, well, that's how I'm going to keep in touch with my grandbaby who lives in Idaho or something.
I was going to say the same thing that he just said there. I keep sharing stuff with my son who's 18 years old on Facebook, but he never likes it and he never ever comments on it. And so I asked him the other day why, and he says, I haven't been to my Facebook page in 6 months, Mom. That's for old people.
That is so true. And as a guy who comes out of radio, and we dealt with old people. We had a radio network called The Music of Your Life, and we targeted 50 plus. And it was also always for us an interesting dynamic because we were headquartered out of New York City, and we're talking to major advertising agencies, and they would say, well, you don't understand. Our demographic is 25, 54. And we would say, you don't understand. People over 50 spend money, and they actually have the money to spend. And so we would always make that argument. That's the key point. Facebook they keep working to make it simpler and simpler. And like I said, now they're making it more business friendly. And you don't have to be a coding expert or a web expert or an SEO expert. You can start making progress. And again, remember the key thing here is this is free. I mean, it's either going to be your time or giving somebody gas money to help you get started, and maybe pay somebody at some point a little bit to look over your shoulder and say, yeah, I think this is going right, or did you think about this or that? But it's a low risk involvement because it's so inexpensive.
Very good. Now, is there, we talk about, and I differentiate this when I lecture, but if we're looking at public relations is one thing. It's doing good for the community. And then there's marketing, and the whole idea of marketing is to bring people into your practice, to bring people into your business. And we establish ourselves with PR. So you brought out some of the things. My PR part of it would be the TV show, donating to charities, having our charitable giving campaign, writing the book, that type of thing. And then we bridge that into marketing saying, oh, Lee Sheldon's on TV all the time. Lee Sheldon wrote a book, all that kind of stuff. This seems like you can kind of do both together. Or you can gradually bring people over from one to the other. And so I guess the question I have is, when is the time to run the special, show the coupon, give the special offer to come to the office for $79 and get the CT scan and the examination? How do you nurture that along and without turning people off?
Well, first of all, if you have a relationship with somebody, it's easy to make a special offer and then have a reason why you're doing it. You know, if you're a tire dealer, you love to have a Memorial Day sale just because it's an excuse to say something different than we're selling tires. You know, we're having a Memorial Day sale. In the case of what you do, you say, you know, we're embarking on our Facebook project because we want to educate people about good dental health. If you're already if you're already a patient here, then you already understand how seriously we take, how seriously we take this, and that we want to help you. So we're going to have some kind of an incentive program for the next 30 days, whatever that means. And so we're gonna, if you bring a friend in, we're gonna have that initial, whatever the tools that you would normally use, you could introduce those. The key is probably keeping the balance. If you ever flip TV on and get hooked into one of those late night commercials, there is a formula that they use. And they're going to first show you how this thing slices and dices and chops and makes healthy drinks and all these kind of things. And then they finally, after they've talked to you about 3 minutes, they're going to drop back and give you a hard sell 60-second commercial where, hurry, you only got 20 minutes left, but if you call 1-800, you can get this and we'll throw in the shipping for free. So I think that's not a dumb ratio. It's probably like a 5-to-1, 4-to-1 kind of ratio. The One of the things, that there's so many tools that you can use. You can use newsletters. There's different things, and then every time, let me walk you back real quickly back through what we try to do on the Helping Seniors page, because what we really hope happens when we're on the Helping Senior page is somebody who reads Aldea Today, which is our bilingual newspaper in this area, they'll say, "Oh, Joe is there." But hopefully, the publisher of Aldea Today is going to put this out on his Facebook page. It's going to reach an audience that we otherwise don't see. Hopefully, John Harper at WMEL, who's the owner operator of that radio station, will put this and make sure all his radio constituencies are there. This we're moving into very much here. A specific. This is a thing that the organization has set out for itself. Joe's got this beautiful car that was donated. It looks brand new, so he's selling raffle tickets. So I was telling you, right now we're in the process of putting together a video, and you can use video, by the way, on these pages. Let me use an example, because that was actually one of the tools we used in our Space Coast Prayer Breakfast. We put together a real simple video, and we parsed that out, because what we needed to do, we needed to be beautiful, but we also needed to make sure we were selling the tickets that we needed to sell. So there's a thing that you can do right on your page. You can put the video right there, and this was real simple. There's no talking in this whatsoever. This is all just, we put a piano track behind it, and the rest is just reminding people that Space Coast Prayer Breakfast is such and such a day, and then you can go buy tickets. And we want people to share that out. Those are the kind of things you could do. Like if you're having a special or something like that, you can definitely do something like that and work it. But I would say I'd use that 5-to-1 or 4-to-1 kind of ratio, just so it doesn't feel like you're just throwing a commercial at them all the time.
Yeah, well, it is education. Of course, we did talk about the importance of writing and the written word and going on TV. It is how you project yourself in the community and present yourself as an authority in the particular field that you're in this case in periodontics and in dental implants. And then, of course, you can take that and you can move that forward into the marketing phase. And I gotta say, most of the people who are on the webinar right now, or those who are listening, at the end of the month, after you receive the disc, most of us are still used to the referral relationship, and that we're marketing to referring dentists, and of course, what we're saying is we've got to broaden that out a little bit. And by the way, we can broaden that out without interfering with our referral sources. We've talked about that before. But part of this is, if you're going to be the periodontist of choice in your community, you know how the general dentists write down 3 different periodontists on the list, and then they make the patient choose which one to go to. Well, part of the reason that people are going to go to you is going to be the prominence and the number of different communication lines you have out there. And of course, Facebook is one of those important communication lines. And so that if you have educational material or people have seen you somewhere, and Facebook is a good place for them to see you, that in fact they may choose you first simply because, oh, I heard about him, or I heard about her, or I know something, or whatever it is. And often it's an intangible, but the numbers of places where you put yourself makes that intangible tangible. People don't know why they're calling you, but they've heard about you. That's, I think, part of the beauty here of Facebook as a medium to be able to get out there. Any comments on that, Carrie? Because you've seen this in a number of different areas. Of course, you're active in church groups as well. I'm just wondering, a church needs members, and a church needs to, has a financial stake, or they need to run themselves well financially in order to be able to continue.
Yeah,
Can we draw a parallel there?
you absolutely can, because there are so many, and I mean this with all due respect. There's so many bad church websites and church Facebook pages out there. The kiss of death is what happens a lot of times. Somebody volunteers, and then they get really excited. So for like 3 days, they're posting everything every 20 minutes, and then they get busy with something else because they didn't get an immediate response. And so then you come to that site 3 months later, and you go, well, nobody's posted anything since 2012. It's a kiss of death. I mean, especially if you're anywhere near internet savvy, you're gonna one of the things that will subliminally alert you is, are these people keeping this site up? Is it up to date? Is it making sense? And and then they make fabulous claims. So we see a lot of times, churches will overpromise the experience. You've never been to a church like this before. Well, that's kind of, that's like the guy out doing the late night commercial saying you've never seen a blender like this before. People aren't ready to give you that much credibility that quick. You've got to earn it. So Facebook is a wonderful opportunity for you to manage the perception. People who are psychologists talk about the narcissistic effect of Facebook, because you become who you want to be on Facebook. How many, I don't know, I've seen it, and I usually end up unfriending them because it gets annoying. You have some people who every time they put a post on Facebook, they're complaining, why did this happen to me? I can't believe this. I really got the bad end of that deal. And you're like, okay, you're a glass half empty person. But then you'll notice other people who are conscientious, and they understand that whatever they put out, you remember all the stuff when Facebook first started, you had all these college counselors warning kids about, don't put up that picture from, from spring break, because that's going to haunt you someday. And so all those kind of things are important. You have a real opportunity to control your press, and Facebook is, like I said, it's free. Why would you not do it?
Yeah, it's great. Carrie, this has been a great presentation. I've learned a lot from it, and I know our members have too. Thanks for being a guest on the AIP webinar.
Happy to do it.
So next week, by the way, if you have questions for Carrie, just send us an email, and I'll get them to Carrie. And Carrie, believe me, Carrie responds. I think Carrie gets less sleep than I do.
No way.
So,
yes, right.
so any questions, let us know. Next week, we'll have our second in the series, as Danielle said. We'll be doing a treatment planning session. We'll be doing it together. We'll be doing treatment planning all the way through to financial arrangements. We'll come up with a good case that we hope will challenge you a little bit more. And, of course, we are also having our guest, Dr. Amrik Singh from Chicago, and he's going to talk about some of the successes that he's enjoyed in his practice and share those successes with you, so you might get some ideas too. So that's it for this edition of the AIP webinar. We'll talk to you again next week. Thanks. Bye-bye.